Welcome into the show, everybody. It is the best time of the week. It is time to answer your questions right here on the Baltimore Ravens Rundown. What you're about to see is a live mailbag, okay? We go live every single Wednesday evening, and we get our fans, our viewers, our watchers, our flock members to ask me questions, and I give them answers right here on the show. Before we get into it, though, okay? My cousin and his wife and daughter, they just moved to Baltimore, funny enough, and he was asking me, hey, Joey, can you ask your viewers what the best pizza place is in Baltimore? So I need you guys to help me help him, okay? Because he needs to know the best spots to hit. So let me know the best pizza place in Baltimore. Maybe you don't like pizza for some weird reason. Then give me the best restaurant in Baltimore, okay? Let me know in the comment section down below. Our first question coming up from El Gato. I know enough Spanish to know that means the cat. Hashtag Ravens, do you think Jaire plays Monday? And if so, should we be nervous if he's on Amon-Ra? I don't think he should play Monday. Okay, El Gato, I don't think he should play Monday. When it comes to Jaire, I'm trying to figure out a kind way to word this. He was horrible against the Bills. Horrible. One of the worst football games I've ever seen. He looked worse than Brandon Stevens looked all last season. And so I am in no interest in getting him back on the field very quickly. Because I think he could use the time, benefit from the time, to getting back 100% fully healthy and just getting back into football shape, back into the swing of things, back into practice. He went like 4 straight weeks of not practicing going into the season. And so I don't think he plays. Actually, I don't want to say that. I wouldn't play him if I were John Harbaugh. I think it's a 50-50 shot. I think it's going to be a game day decision, game time decision. And I'd probably lean, if I were betting on it, I'd probably lean that he does play against the Lions. Up next, Steve Loop, father of Mr. Loop. There it is. I'm assuming Detroit watched Cleveland's defense. What do we do differently to open up the run game? Well, I think what we're going to be able to do differently is just have a little bit more push on this Lions defensive line than we did on Cleveland's. Look, Cleveland doesn't have a lot that's great about their football team. The defensive line, though, is their best part. Okay? That's the best thing about them. They've got a damn good defensive line. They've got one of the best players in the National Football League on it in Myles Garrett. And so, yeah, Aiden Hutchinson's good. But their interior, not that deep. Some impressive things from Tyleik Williams, the rookie. Marcus Davenport, as of the current recording of this video, he's questionable to play on Monday. You're going to get more push against this Detroit Lions defensive line. So, in my opinion, I don't think you need to do anything schematically different. I just think you're going to match up better against them. And also, Jim Schwartz was saying, you know what? We're just going to sell out to stop the run. And I don't know necessarily if the Detroit Lions are going to do that same thing because they saw a team who just did that still get 41 points put on them. So, Kimberly Harmon up next. Which rookies stand out in the regular season? Great question, Kimberly. Teddy Buchanan has stood out a lot. I honestly think he might be standing out the most, if I'm being frank with you. He started last week, took over Trent Simpson's role, and I would not be surprised if that happens again. Malaki, I've seen him from time to time, kind of still waiting on a big splash from him. Mike Green pressured the quarterback a good bit on Cleveland. The film wasn't the nicest to Mike Green, but regardless, I still think he's got that ability. I'm not selling my Mike Green stock anytime soon. In fact, I'm probably buying more. And I think we're going to be able to see that against Detroit. Because as we know, Kyle Van Noy's going to be out multiple weeks, so he's got to take that big step up. But if I were to answer your question, Kimberly, Teddy Buchanan is the number one rookie that comes to mind. Bobcat 23 is next. Should the Ravens sign Darnell Savage after he's cut by the Dolphins? So if y'all missed it, Darnell Savage, safety, cut by the Miami Dolphins. And I'm just probably going to tell you no, Bobcat 23, because the Dolphins suck. If it's not the Saints, it might be the Dolphins for the worst team in football. And so I'm not necessarily interested in players who can't make the roster on the worst team in football. And I feel like the safety play has been pretty good so far. Like, I've been happy with Malaki Starks. Like I said, he hadn't flashed yet. He hasn't given us that rookie just wild jaw-dropping moment yet. But I'm happy with his play. I am. Obviously, I'm happy with Kyle Hamilton's play. I think at this point, if they're going to sign a safety, it's going to be Justin Simmons over a guy like Darnell Savage, in my opinion. What do you think? Should the Ravens sign Darnell Savage? Let me know by giving me a yes or a no in the comment section down below. Weigh in with your answer. Free agent safety, he's available. Do you think the Baltimore Ravens should go and snag him? Go ahead and give me a yes or no. Again, I'm probably leaning no. If they're going to get a safety, it's not going to be Savage. Jay Ralome's up next. How do you feel about our matchups? I'm going to answer this about matchups against the Detroit Lions. I think they're pretty even. Okay? I do. I think their offensive line is probably better than our defensive line. I think their offensive line is pretty similar to our offensive line. I think it has higher highs. I think Penei Sewell is one of the best offensive linemen in football, but I think they've got some lower lows. I think they probably have the better defensive line. I think we have the better quarterback. I think we have the better singular running back, but they've got a great running back duo. I think they have a better wide receiver room. I think we have a better secondary. Like, this thing, when you look at just playing matchups back and forth, this thing is a true toss-up. Like I said, I think it's going to come down to, can we get pressure on Jared Goff? The fact that we're at home helps a lot. I absolutely love it. We all know that Lamar Jackson is wonderful on Monday Night Football, so I love that as well. A lot of times, though, I feel like if you have the better quarterback by a good margin, and there's really not a big part of your team that you're super-duper scared about, then I think you're going to be able to win the football game. D'Angelo L. coming up next. When is Isaiah Likely back? At the current recording of this video, D'Angelo, not yet. Not yet. The injury report, the first one, came out on Thursday. I think he's going to be a game-time decision. I truly do. I think the fact that Mark Andrews is playing so horrifically probably wants them to rush back a guy like Isaiah Likely a little bit earlier than anticipated, because not only will they finally get a competent tight end out there as a receiving option, but additionally, I think it's going to help Mark Andrews if Isaiah Likely's back. So I would say it's game time decision. Wouldn't be shocked if he doesn't play. Wouldn't be shocked if he does play. If he doesn't play against the Lions, though, I think he will play against the Chiefs. Make sure you guys do me a big favor. Do yourself a big favor, actually, and go to chatsports.com/purple hoodie. You can get some Ravens swag. Baltimore, Ravens, football, Ravens logo, the beautiful purple, for a massive sale. Okay? Chatsports.com/purple hoodie. That link is in the comment section and description of today's video. I don't know what the weather's going to be for Monday Night Football, but I'm assuming Baltimore, night game, mid to late September, probably not going to be that bad, right? I think the low is 66 on Monday. That's good enough to wear a hoodie. So, chatsports.com/purple hoodie. You can get yours today. Mog's up next. I don't believe we are playing championship football, let alone playoffs. And in my opinion, the playoffs start against Detroit. What say you, JP? I don't necessarily disagree that we're not playing championship football, because I don't think we are. But also, I think it's hard to say we're not playing playoff football when we just put 40 on a team that went to the AFC Championship last year and is probably going to end up winning 13 to 14 games this year. It's also hard to say we're not playing playoff football when your second opponent was against a team that hasn't sniffed the playoffs in half a decade, right? And so that's kind of hard. I think we're playing playoff football. We're going to know for sure on Monday against Detroit. And I don't want to say that the season starts or the playoffs start against Detroit, because it's such a long season. I get your sentiment. I don't necessarily agree with it, because if they lose, like, their season's not over. And that's kind of what happens in the playoffs. So I disagree with you there, but I do agree that we're not playing championship football yet. And I hope that changes Monday against Detroit. Cujo X coming up next. That rhymes. Hashtag Ravens, do you think we can sweep the Steelers this season? And are they the biggest threat to the Ravens 3PS division champs? Cujo, yes and yes. I do think we can sweep them this year. I'm not impressed with what the Steelers did in the offseason. Sure, they got Aaron Rodgers. Who gives a flip? It is 2025. That would have impressed me 7 years ago. Hell, that probably would have impressed me 3 or 4 years ago. It doesn't really impress me now. Sure, he can make a ton of throws still, but do they have guys to catch it? Do they have an offensive coordinator that's good enough? I don't think so. They just lost to the Seahawks. Pretty bad fashion. Not saying their season's over. We lost to the Bills in bad fashion, right? They barely beat the Jets. No offense, Gage. But still, like at the end of the day, I think you're better than they are. I think you're a better roster, and you beat them twice last year. I think you finally got over your Steelers hump, and hopefully you're going to be able to sweep them this year. And I also think that maybe it was Cincinnati, biggest division threat, but with Joe Burrow out 3 months, it then turns to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Attendance squad, what do you think the Ravens will try to do with Henry with the Lions' very strong defensive line? I think maybe play a little bit more of like heavy sets. Maybe go a little bit into 13 personnel. I think this is the missing Patrick Ricard side of things. I think nobody really realizes how big of a miss that is until it's gone. He is one of the biggest reasons this team is able to do what they're able to do on the ground. Sure, you got Derrick Henry. He's Derrick freaking Henry. He's a workhorse, right? But Pat Ricard, he blazes that trail, man. He really does. So I think him coming back is going to be big. I think they're going to play a lot of 13 personnel. You know, maybe you'll see Zaire Mitchell-Payton like you did against the Browns. You'll probably see Charlie Kolar and Mark Andrews maybe a little bit tighter, lining up behind the tackles instead, trying to get a little bit more bodies in there. Maybe just tight formations in general. Helps you run outside stretch plays or toss plays a little bit better if you are tight. So maybe that's what they're going to try to do against the Lions. Last question of the day from Old Smokey. Do you want the Ravens, or did you want the Ravens, or do you wish the Ravens signed Jadeveon Clowney? I think that's what you meant. Yeah, I do. I think Jadeveon Clowney is better than David Ojabo. Plain and simple. And now with Kyle Van Noy out, you're kind of like cursing at yourself for not being able to do that, not pulling the trigger. It's unfortunate. Obviously, it's over. It's gone. He's with the Cowboys now. But I would have paid $6 million for a one-year deal for Jadeveon Clowney, especially after what he showed you, and especially after what this defensive line has showed you in the first 2 games, where they've been fine. That's pretty much it. Name a free agent you think the Ravens should sign in the comment section down below. I thought it was Jadeveon Clowney. Now I don't really know. Eric Kendricks. That's a guy I would like to sign. Okay? You let me know yours in the comment section. That's going to do it for today's show. Make sure you got me followed on social media. On Twitter, on Instagram, at Joey Peterson 8. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, youtube.com/RavensTV.